What is going on? It's your boy Mr. Meme, and today we are bringing you a very exciting video based on the update that the devs have come out with State of the Game today, and basically we are covering that today. All right, now I'm basically going to express my excitement on what's going on in the game and what's going to be happening in the near future. All right, so as you guys know, we have a bunch of, well, 3 classifications, and we have survivalist, demolitionist, and a sharpshooter, right? So currently everybody and their mother is using demolitionist, and the reason being is because of 2 talents in PvP. Now we're going to cover PvE in this segment, but we're not going to cover as much as PvP because the real problem in PvP is now being fixed, and I will tell you those 2 problems. There's 2 problems only that was happening in PvP. All right, now some may say, oh, there was a lot of other stuff. Yes, spawn camping and checkpoint camping was an issue, but the only reason why it was an issue is because of these builds that were being made by these mad scientists that we love but we hate at the same time, because you're breaking the game that you are making money off of, right? So it's kind of weird, and I'm not gonna say a name. Maybe you'll see it on the screen here, but you're kind of breaking the game because you're creating a meta and the people are following your meta, and you're trying to break the game in that sense just for views. And I get it. It works. It just works. But anyways, so now the devs have seen the meta and how you basically swayed the meta to this specific point. So right now, as we speak, demolitionist is the most used as far as the specialist goes. All right, and sharpshooter is probably second to third. I won't say sharpshooter. Survivalist is definitely being used. But anyways, the problem we were having in the PvP section of the game that most people hated PvP for. Some people in console hated it because of the sluggishness. Alright, now I did say that it felt a lot better and a lot smoother and optimized for PC. So if you guys do want to start investing in PCs just to play the game, I understand. If you don't want to because you think it's just not worth it, I understand also, but you will never experience what you want to actually experience playing on console, and I apologize for that. I'm not trying to bash console. I'm just saying Division 1 played a lot better on console than it does on Division 2. Alright, the 2 problems that we had in the game as of state, as you guys can see here, was 2 talents called Berserk and Strain. Now that the devs have fixed it, they were basically considering the Berserk to be a major nerf, and Berserk is not a nerf. It's just now going to work as intended. Any gear set should not give you 100% more weapon damage based on your armor. So if you have 0 armor, you have 100% weapon damage. Now what that does is that what that creates is things like vectors. So vectors, instead of shooting 50% weapon damage extra, they're now shooting 100% weapon damage extra. I've seen a vector at 10k. A vector should not be shooting 20k with that RPM speed. 1.3 RPM with Allegro on it. It should not be shooting at that much high of a rate. So now that they've nerfed it, it's now going to be only 50. Alright, so instead you'll have 15k damage on a vector, which still sounds a lot. But guess what? Here's where the fix happens. The necessary points that you need to actually unlock said called Berserk talent. That Berserk talent will not be unlocked unless you get 11 points, which is great of a nerf, because now guess what else was the problem. This is the second problem. A talent called Strain. That was one of the issues we were having with the SMG. What Strain does is basically allows you to get 100% crit damage on top of whatever crit damage you have. Most people are roughly running around 25% crit damage. You bring that up to 100%, 125% crit damage, along with Berserk with 100% damage to weapon. Some people were just running with those 2 talents and pretty much going crazy in the servers. They didn't have clutch, they just ran straight damage. Now you can see why there was an issue in PvP, especially on PC. I'm not sure how it was running on PS4 because I didn't really experience the PvP part of PS4, but I didn't want to because it was so sluggish, as most people have already explained to me that PS4 and console in general was just too slow for them. So a lot of people did give up playing on PS4 or console in general. Alright, now I advise everybody to get a PC because PC is definitely something that's just very different and very suitable for the game, and it feels so great right now. But those talents were kind of breaking the game. There was times where I would go into servers where I would just have, as you guys can see a display here, where I would just have simply infinite damage because I had no armor, and all I had to do was pull out a shield and just create my damage that way. It was just terrible. It was a terrible experience. Yes, you see me wrecking people right now, but it's a build that I didn't care about. It's not even a build I'm showing you guys because it's technically a 2-shot build for most part. All right, I'm dealing literally 98,000 damage to a player. Do you not see how broken that sounds? That's more than a sniper. You know, some snipers, that's not allowed. Imagine the fire rate being faster than a sniper. So imagine 298,000 crit damages that just happened out of nowhere. I was able to get 55% crit chance. So now my chances are higher than 50%. So any bullet can possibly just melt a player. So this is why there was an issue. That wasn't a balance. That wasn't a balanced situation. All right. So now that the devs have thought about a perfect way to actually balance it, and that's this way. Now with Berserk, what you have to have 11 points to get unlocked Berserk. And with Strain, we all know that you have to have 5 or less. Okay. Now that means that you cannot use Strained and Berserk together. And that is a positive. So if you have to spec into crit chance, you got to spec into crit chance to get your 5. And if you have to spec into damage just to get Berserk, you have to spec into damage. This allows a lot of more diversity in builds, and you will see a lot more changes. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not going to be a meta. Of course, you got mad scientists out there still going to try to break the game. And I do not agree with half of you guys making these type of builds, but by all means, go ahead, and the devs will just nerf it. Now, when people cry nerf, there's certain things that when you nerf, it's a very understanding nerf. These are very understanding nerfs and very well needed. Okay, I don't care who like their vector builds. Now there is no vector builds. Okay, vector builds are pretty much a thing of the past. Now I don't doubt that there will be somebody that will probably come up with another build that's using a vector and still possibly able to still damage people, but at the end of the day, it is what it is right now. Those 2 nerfs are really good for the game. Now we are moving on to our next positive thing, the pestilence. I was just bashing it in one of my last videos. I used it for just scrap metal, technically for material, just to get my components. Now they are very worth it, so keep at least 1 in your inventory until the buff happens. You will get at least 10,000 more damage. Okay, now it's not going to hit as hard as your classic M60. Okay, so the M60 hits harder, obviously, and on total damage. Your pestilence will be in between the MG5 and the M60 damage. So that's where you're going to have your damage rating around there. Also in the news, basically we have now the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone Occupy DZ is now going to be fun and full. Alright, now the reason why that's going to happen is because they have added a rogue timer. Yes, a rogue timer. You heard it here. A rogue timer will happen now, and it's gonna have the Division 1 feel of it. Okay, now you don't have to proc rogue. If you guys have ever played Division 1 before the Rogue 2.0, this is basically what's happening. You can shoot anybody on sight and go rogue, and your team will go rogue. Now the person can retaliate and he will not go rogue because you are already rogue. You shot them first. So that Division 1 feel is back, guys. So if you guys do remember, before all the gear sets came out, before Rogue 2.0, that's what's going to be happening basically here. Now that allows no more checkpoint camping, no more checkpoint fights, which is trash to me. It's just pretty much you coming out, melting 2 or 3 players, going back in because you died to the player that came out behind you. And it was just an ongoing thing with vectors, and all you see was vectors. It was no diversity. It was just not fun. After like maybe 10 minutes, it's not fun anymore. All right, and especially if you're winning and then you just keep melting the same players, it becomes clear that it's cheese. Okay, we got to get rid of the cheese, and I'm happy that it's getting gone. It's gone right now. It's not even going to return in a long run. All right. Anyways, so down to the last and but not least, we're going to talk about PVE. All right. Now I do know that a lot of PVE players are going to be hurt by this comment, but you guys pretty much had it coming. All right, now you guys have to go into the DZ to get 515 gear. Now it's not necessarily you have to go into it, you know, but you're not going to want to sit and do raids for hours upon hours just to get a few gear sets or gear pieces that are going to be above 515, where in the DZ you can get it quicker. I think the DZ would be more of a suitable place for you to farm, but I know you guys don't want to because there's rogues in there. So the best DZ for you to go to would be definitely the one that is normalized, so you won't get jumped by players and you can have your turret still, but at the end of the day there will be players there, right? Now that's where your gear will drop. Now Occupy DZ will be a whole nother beast though. Alright, Occupy DZ, at least you will know that there will be players that are going rogue in there. However, and even with the manhunt situation, I don't think you have to clear it. I think it's more of a timer thing. It would be more of a timer thing where you guys have to survive it versus you guys having to call it off. And that's what I think that's what's going to eventually happen. Now, if I'm wrong, please comment in the section below and please correct me. Of course, respectably. So these are the exciting things. Now, PVE, like I said, you guys did get a nerf. However, I do think that there will be some great content here for you guys. It won't be just a nerf and then you guys can't play it anymore. I just think that it's more of a nerf that was necessary for PVE, as far as you guys just not going into the DZ. I think you had it coming because half the people I know that play this game stay in the open world and never step foot in the DZ. I don't think half of people have even a level 1 DZ character, and that's not fair to the community to be such a divided community. That's not the type of game you want. You want a community that's going to stick together and not try to break the game. You know what I'm saying? So you have those toxic players that do try to break the game, and then you have the community that just wants to stay away from all of that and play the game against the NPCs. For that, I understand, but you guys have to come to the DZ, which is, for me, it's funny, but I understand if you may not like it. So remember, guys, if I have been helpful with the information I have provided you today, please remember to smash that like, hit the sub if you're new to the channel. I love you all. It's your boy, Mr. Meme. I'm out. Peace.